I welcome everybody to the first ever edition of First and 10 on NYVT Media, our NYVT Media High School Football Preview and Review Show. I'm your host, Keith Harrington, and this is going to be a new weekly program for us here on NYVT Media as we get ready to go with the weekend of high school football, and week one is upon us, and we will be in Whitehall at Ambrose Gilligan Field on Friday night as Granville-Whitehall will host Plattsburgh in a rematch from last season. And coming up later on the show, we'll talk a little bit more about that matchup. And I will have as my guest Granville-Whitehall football coach Kevin Gebo will be joining us in just a little bit. But first, let's look back at last year's meeting between these two teams. Granville-Whitehall had a great season last year. They made it to the sectionals for the first time. They came away with a 27-7 win over Kennedy Fort Plain OESJ. And then they went on to play Cobleskill in the Class C semifinals where they lost 31-6. But nonetheless, a banner year for the program as they went 7-3 overall. And I think a milestone season for Granville-Whitehall football where they really started to emerge on the scene of local high school football and Class C high school football, and they're looking for even bigger and better things this year. Plattsburgh had one of their better seasons last year as well. They finished 4-2 in their conference, 5-4 overall, and they came away with a win over Mariah. They shut out Mariah 24-0. It was their first win in a very long time over powerhouse Mariah. So Plattsburgh, even though their season didn't get off to a very good start against Granville-Whitehall, they certainly had a great season. Looking back at last year's game, it was held in Plattsburgh. As I said, this year it'll be at Ambrose Gilligan Field in Whitehall. And Granville-Whitehall came away with a 34-6 win in that game. CJ Monty rushed for 148 yards on 26 carries. He had 4 touchdowns in the game for Granville-Whitehall. Trey Mason, their quarterback, who is now graduated, had a 12-yard touchdown pass to graduated wide receiver Tommy Barber in last year's game. And the Granville-Whitehall defense was outstanding in that contest. They only gave up 5 yards total of rushing and 105 yards of passing. So only 110 total yards of offense by Plattsburgh last year. So the Hornets are definitely going to have to do a little bit better than that this year if they're going to come to Whitehall and be able to defeat GW this year. And a little bit of a preview of the Plattsburgh team. They're going to be a little bit on the young side. They're going to have a lot of new faces in key positions. Last year, Dom D'Angelo was their star wide receiver. He has graduated. He is now playing college football at Wagner University. So that's a top weapon that won't be in the mix this year. Also, Daniel Hartman, their quarterback, he graduated. So they'll have a new signal caller, as will GW. As we mentioned, Trey Mason has graduated and moved on from the Granville-Whitehall team as well. And a couple of quarterbacks in the mix there to be the new starting quarterback for Granville-Whitehall. Coach Jibo will talk about that in just a little bit. Also, Landon Ledoux and Brian Kimakai, a couple of key wide receivers for the Hornets, have also graduated. So they are going to be missing some very key players on the offensive side of the ball from a team that only had 110 yards of offense last year against Granville-Whitehall. But don't let that be deceiving, folks. This team's coming here and they're going to give Granville-Whitehall a battle, as Coach Jibo will talk about in just a little bit. They had a very, very good junior varsity team last year. And it was the first year of a new coaching staff. So at the beginning of the year last year, they had their first game against Granville-Whitehall at the beginning of the season with a new coach and a new offense and a new philosophy. So you can expect that the Hornets of Plattsburgh are going to be a much better team when they come to Ambrose Gilligan Field on Friday night for a special time, a 6 o'clock kickoff at Ambrose Gilligan Field in Whitehall. And NYVT Media Sports will be on hand to cover all the action as we will have the live broadcast of the game, and we'll be there for all the festivities as well as Captain John, who would have been on the football team this year, would have been a senior as a football team on the football team this year, will be honored He died of brain cancer. Many people who follow local sports and local news remember his story from several years ago now. But he would have been a senior now, and Granville-Whitehall is going to wear special jerseys and have a special ceremony to honor Captain John pregame, and Coach Jibo will talk about that as well. So that is a little preview of the season opener coming up on Friday night. Granville-Whitehall hosting the Hornets of Plattsburgh. A return visit as Granville-Whitehall played at Plattsburgh last year, and as I mentioned, won 34-6. And this year they'll play at Ambrose Gilligan Field at 6 o'clock on Friday night. We'll be right back. Coming up next, I'll be joined by Granville-Whitehall head football coach Kevin Gebo. This is First and 10 with Keith Harrington on NYVT Media Sports. And welcome back to First and 10 with Keith Harrington, our NYVT Media high school football preview and review show. And joining me right now is Granville-Whitehall head football coach Kevin Gebo. And it seems like that we just finished the season last year on a cold, rainy night in Cobleskill, and then here we are again already.
Yeah, as you know, truly it never ends though. You're constantly preparing, you're thinking ahead, so it never ends. But here it is. I mean, first game this week, it's exciting.
And it's my favorite time of the year. I love football season. I love all sports seasons, but there's something about the fall, that chill in the air,
Oh
the
yeah.
popcorn and the hot dogs cooking
Yeah.
in the concession stand at night, the smell you get out of it, the grass. It's just something
Friday
about
night
it.
lights.
Yeah, Friday night
Uh,
lights. There's just something special about it. I don't
there
know.
is.
I love all sports, but it's my favorite time of the year,
Yes.
no doubt about it. So, you know, the Merge program now going into its fourth year. And it seems like now you've truly become two schools in one football program.
I believe we have, yeah. And I contribute that truly like the parents last year were fantastic, promoting, supporting the athletes, the communities together. So it's really coming together nicely.
So last year, a good season, and you defeated Kennedy Harry Fort Plain. You made your first playoff appearance in the sectionals, won your first sectional game, and then went and got defeated by Cobleskill Richmondville on our horrible night for
It
high
was a
school
it was
football,
a
a
bad
rainy
night.
night.
Yeah.
We couldn't even hardly get the broadcast on. The window of the press box
Yeah.
was all covered with water. But how big was that for your program?
Yeah. Well, it was fantastic. We set a goal to make the playoffs, and then we wanted a home playoff game, and that all worked out. The athletes achieved that goal, and so what it did is that those athletes last year set a standard, and the standard was okay, guys, nothing below this. Playoffs every year. Try to build off what they did last year, and that's our goal this year, building off from what has taken place.
So obviously you lost some key seniors last year, but what is the talent looking like that's coming back for this season?
It's looking good. Their potential's there. They've been now with the program. Some of these guys have been starting since sophomores. Now here they are seniors, so we expect a lot out of them.
And one of the positions you've got to think about is the quarterback position. You had Trey Mason last year, very talented athlete at the quarterback position. How's the battle for the new starting
Yeah,
quarterback coming along? And how do you replace Trey Mason?
yeah. Well, you don't. You can't. So, but yet those two guys, they're just ready. They're really anticipating, looking forward to leading that team. This Friday night starter will be a senior, Chris Roselle. He's 6'3". He's got a strong arm. But yet we've got a younger man, just a sophomore, Finn McLaughlin. He is a fantastic quarterback in the future, and even this year he's going to be in there playing. So we're very excited that even though we can't replace Trey, the difference is that they have different styles from Trey that's still going to help the program.
And I would say that both of them are talented athletes, so they're probably both going to be on the field somewhere, whether they're playing quarterback or not.
Defense, absolutely, yeah. There's potential there.
All right, great. CJ Monty, we have to talk about CJ. You know, he's been the starting running back, it seems like forever now. And, you know, a very dedicated player to his craft. He's already got an offer from UAlbany to play Division I college
Very,
football.
very exciting.
Talk about CJ.
Yeah, CJ is he pours himself into that. This is his sport. He's desired to want to play college football. He does all the camps. He does all the extra stuff. And you know what was amazing, Keith, was this past winter he went down to Georgia to a prep school. They offered him a full ride to stay there to play his senior year in Georgia prep school. But he called me on the phone from Georgia, and I'm sitting at home, and he says, "Hey, coach, I just want you to know something. I wanted to prove that I could play with these guys, and I feel like I did that. but I want to come home and I want to finish what we started. I want to win a Section 2 championship together. And so that was just encouraging to me
Right.
that he has that goal, and CJ is very goal oriented.
Hmm. Yeah. And a lot of kids probably would have taken that opportunity.
Oh, I know. It was a great opportunity. I
Yeah.
mean, that he passed up because he wanted to complete the things that he started right here with this program.
And of course, he's an excellent wrestler. He wants to get on the podium at the state
He does.
championships,
Yep.
so that might have played a role in it too. He wants to stay with the Granville-Whitehall wrestling
Yeah.
program as well.
Yeah, and he's got those relationships with Brandon Beaver, Nathan Barber. Those guys together in the backfield are going to be fantastic.
Right, exactly, exactly. So, as far as training camp goes so far, I'm sure you've got a lot of individuals you could talk about.
Yeah.
We don't have that much time probably to talk about all of them,
Right.
but have you had any surprises in camp? People that have really stood out, or is it just in general the attitude, the work ethic?
Yes. So I think that's a great question because there's been some young guys that have come through that they've grown over the summer. Like one guy comes back, he's grown over the summer, who's going to be a starting lineman for us. And all of a sudden I look at him and say, "What happened to you?" He says, "I worked out all summer with my dad."
Right.
And so he's at the gym all the time and is building up and get himself ready. But a senior, Patrick Egan,
Mm,
he's always in the gym, and I'm getting a lot of emails from coaches. He's getting a chance to visit schools. And so expecting a lot out of Captain Patrick Egan as well
right.
at the defensive end, as well as, in the position of tackle. He's pulling. He's just doing a great job leading as well.
Excellent, excellent. He can be dominating at
Oh,
times.
he's amazing to watch.
Right. A lot of fun to watch, no doubt about it. So you've got Plattsburgh coming up in the season opener non-league game. It is a 6 o'clock start. Take note of that, fans, if
Yes.
you're coming to Ambrose Gilligan Field on Friday night. And if you can't make it, NYVT Media Sports with myself on the play-by-play. We'll have coverage of the game, but what are you looking forward to in that Plattsburgh
Do you
game?
mind if I just pause right here?
Sure.
So, what's been amazing is that with the New York VT Media, when you guys put it online like you do, I know I have family that's not even here, friends that are not even here, and they'll watch it because they want to still see that program. So I'm
Right.
so thankful to you guys and your work and effort to make sure that people have it. So some just don't have the privilege of traveling, or they can't get there because it's a long place to go to, but they still want to watch and support us. And not only that, but it's also amazing. I love to go back and listen to it the next day
Right.
and hear you commentating, and the kid's name is just really exciting. And so I'm so thankful for what you guys do
Well,
for
thank
our
you.
sports program in our community. So thank you.
Well, as I was saying earlier, I'm retired now from my full-time job, so you're probably going to be seeing more of me.
We'll take it.
And I'm
We'll
going to
take
be
all we
around a
can
lot
get.
more at the games for all the sports. So I'm looking
Yes.
forward to taking a bigger role here at NYVT Media. So excited about that. But getting back to Plattsburgh, beat them
Yes.
last year. I think it was 34-6. They lost their star wide receiver, who's now playing college football at Wagner. They lost their quarterback, but you think they're going to be a pretty good team?
I think they're going to be a good team. We're not overlooking anybody. Last year's last year. That's behind us. And so this is our starting point. Tomorrow, when we play on Friday night, our goal truly is to set the tone for the season. And so therefore, it's also going to be an emotional night.
Right.
And so we've got to figure out that fine balance as we're going to honor, John, the
The
captain.
captain, yeah.
So, when he's passed on, and he would have been a senior this year in that program. So we're going to honor that family tonight as well. Remember, we've got these gray jerseys now.
Right.
And the gray jerseys are the fact that is the brain cancer awareness color.
Right.
And so therefore we got those jerseys, and we're going to honor him that night. We're going gray Friday night, and love to see everybody else go gray with us for that night and just support this program.
And when Captain John was going through his battle, I mean, the outpouring from not only the Whitehall community, but communities all over the county was just amazing. I remember the truck parade,
Yeah,
just incredible.
it was. And it's a sad thing what had taken place in his life, and his parents have been, his mom especially, has been so supportive of this senior group coming through.
Right. Well, excellent. We look forward to that and honoring Captain John pregame right about
Pre-game
5:45.
about 5:45.
Oh,
Yeah.
awesome. And the game at 6 o'clock. Don't forget that. So what would your goals be for the season for Granville-Whitehall football?
Yeah, so the goal is to build off of last year, but yet at the same time let go of last year. That was last year,
Right.
brand new start, clean slate. And so we set long-term and short-term goals, Keith. And the thing about it is our short-term goal begins with Friday night against Plattsburgh. So each week we have a short-term goal, whoever that team is. But our long-term goal is we'd like to set the fact of being a Section 2 championship team.
Right.
Now, don't know if we're going to be, but I know that that is our goal, and we're going to shoot for that potential.
Right, right. And you got to set the bar high. You got to get these kids motivated. And the way you do that, set the bar high.
Yeah, and that's what that senior group did last year. They said, here's our standard. We've set the bar, and don't go below it.
So it sounds like now 4 years into this merger, definitely two schools making up one football program, and you've got a definite philosophy, a definite standard, and that's where you want to be at this point.
We do, yeah. Things are coming together nicely, and we're so thankful they are.
And the one thing people need to remember is there probably wouldn't be Granville football or Whitehall football without this merger.
You have to have, people don't understand, you have to have so many numbers on the program. Without those numbers, it just doesn't work.
And around the area, numbers are down, even with some of the top programs. Greenwich, I know numbers are down. Cambridge-Salem numbers are down.
You see all these schools merging. I feel like we, Granville-Whitehall, were really one of the last groups to merge together.
Right. Yeah, I actually wrote an article back when people were talking about the merger and people were having their doubts about it.
Yeah.
I wrote an article and said, let's look at who the top teams out there right now. Cambridge-Salem.
Merged.
Warrensburg Lake George.
Merged.
And even last year you played Kennedy Fort Plain, so
there's like 3 or 4 schools there. Merged.
Right, exactly. So, that is the trend. That's where we're at right now for high school athletics.
It is. And, we pounded in that simple slogan, once rivals, now one team.
Right, exactly.
And they become in one team.
Well, that's great. It took 4 years to get there, but I think you're there.
We're getting there.
All right, excellent. Coach Kevin Gebo, thanks very much for joining us, head coach at Granville-Whitehall Football. And we will see you on Friday night, 6 o'clock kickoff.
So remember, our goal this year and our slogan this year is stay humble, but have high expectations.
Excellent. Excellent. We'll be there Friday night to see this all start to transpire. Looking forward to it.
Thank you.
We'll be right back with more of First and 10 with Keith Harrington as we take a look at the rest of the schedule for week 1 of high school football. And welcome back to First and 10 on NYVT Media Sports. I'm Keith Harrington, and right now let's take a look at the schedule for the first weekend of high school football. Week number 1, as they are calling it, coming up starting on Friday night. And one of the games that intrigues me the most is the Greenwich Witches traveling to Section 7 Moriah for a game on Friday night. Now, Greenwich had a great year last year. They went 10-2 on the season. They lost in the state semifinals to Burke Catholic, but a very good football team. And they played Moriah actually last year in the playoffs in the regional round. And Moriah, a little bit down last year. They had a record of 4-5 overall, but still came out of Section 7 in Class D. Part of the reason they were 4-5 is they always play a schedule where they play a powerful schedule of bigger school teams because there's just not a lot of Class D teams to be found, quite frankly, in Section 7. Last year, Greenwich won the game 34-0 in the state semifinals. And then, they went on and ended up being defeated by Burke Catholic in the state semifinals. But Greenwich, they've got 4 of their 5 starting linemen back. I know, according to Coach Brandon Lynette, their numbers are a little bit down, but they've got the linemen back. They've got Ryan Ingber back at quarterback. And as I was talking with Coach Jibo about off the air a little bit earlier, when you've got your linemen back and you've got your quarterback back, you can do a lot of damage. So I expect Greenwich to still be very, very strong. And they'll get a test, though, on the road at Moriah on Friday night. Other games on the schedule, Cambridge-Salem is at Hoosick Falls Tamarack. Cambridge-Salem, another team who, their numbers are down a little bit. It seems to be a trend that's just going on everywhere, but Coach Luke is going to have that team ready to go. Mechanicville is at Stillwater Spa Catholic, and that's going to be interesting because it is a new merger, Stillwater adding Spa Catholic. Spa Catholic has a lot of good athletes, so it'll be interesting to see what kind of factor that is as far as Stillwater goes. And Mechanicville always seems to come up with a very good football team, so that'll be an interesting game. On Saturday, Cobleskill Richmondville is at Hudson Falls. And a great season last year for Cobleskill. They went 9-1. They lost to Schuylerville 35-21 in the Class C championship game. They knocked out Granville-Whitehall, as we mentioned earlier, in the semifinals. But Hudson Falls is coming back after a year off. Last year, they just had a junior varsity team. And now they're coming back to varsity football, and they're playing down in Class D their first year back, which is interesting because it's a school who normally is a Class B, I believe, in other sports. So playing Class D in their first year back, and really thought with the storied program that Hudson Falls has had, I never thought I'd see the day where they didn't have a football team at one point and now are playing in Class D. But again, it's the sign of the times right now, trying to get kids to come out and play not only football, but sports in general has become a great challenge. And that's what's forced many schools to have to merge their programs. There's more teams, I think, merged nowadays, especially down in Class C and Class D, than those that are not merged. Also on the schedule, a game that's going to be interesting. Schuylerville is at Broad Alban Perth. Schuylerville last year 14-1, state champions, 26-20 win over Salamanca. So that's going to be interesting to see how they are this year. And also, it is going to be Coxsackie Athens at Rensselaer, and Ravenna Queeman Selkirk is at Gloversville. Ravenna Queeman Selkirk coming off an 8-3 season last year, lost to Glens Falls 20-19 in the sectionals. But again, a team that is always a contender year in and year out. And of course, I also want to talk about the resurgence of the Warrensburg Lake George Bolton program, or the potential resurgence. Not going to go into the details of what happened last year. That's, I think, past history now. It's time to move on. But, Warrensburg Lake George Bolton was undefeated, ranked number one in the state last year when their season was cut short. John Irian is now the new coach of the Wolverines. Irian, of course, went to 4 state championship games with Queensberry, won 1 state championship with the Spartans, spent time here in Granville as the football coach when they were the Golden Horde before the merger took place with Whitehall. And also has been spending some time, I think, in South Glens Falls as an assistant coach. And he has the task of bringing back the program for the Wolverines for Warrensburg Lake George Bolton. And I think he's the right man for the job. And it's going to be very fascinating to see how he does with that program and how his offense fits into the scheme of things there. And I look forward to seeing how they are going to do this year. And I think John Irian, as I said, the right man for the job. He lives in Hartford, where I live. I see him once in a while at the local pancake breakfast, and I know his football knowledge, and I think he's going to do well there with Warrensburg, Lake George, Bolton. That's going to wrap it up here for this week's edition of First and 10. Next week, we'll be back. Don't know who the guest is going to be right now, but we'll let you know as soon as we know. But next week, we'll not only be previewing the upcoming games, but looking back at the games from this past weekend. And so that'll be coming up on next week's show. Thanks for joining me. Hope you enjoyed this, our first edition. We're building. We're going to get better as we go. And glad to have you along with us. This is First and 10 on NYVT Media Sports with Keith Harrington. So long, everybody. We'll see you next time.